Hi everyone, my name is Dana Faghih, and my PI for this literature review is Dr. Amir Mohadjeri. I'll be presenting our research on the correlation between magnesium intake and periodontitis among non-diabetic U.S. adults. Periodontitis is characterized by chronic inflammation and progressive alveolar bone loss that result from the interaction between oral bacteria and the body's immune response. Because inflammation and bone metabolism are central to disease progression, nutrients that influence these pathways may contribute to periodontal disease risk. Magnesium is essential for immune regulation, inflammatory control, and bone metabolism, yet inadequate intake is relatively common in the U.S. population. Inadequate magnesium intake may contribute to increased systemic and local inflammation, potentially increasing susceptibility to periodontal breakdown. Despite its biological relevance, magnesium has received limited attention in periodontal research, which led me to explore its potential association with periodontitis in this study. The objective of this study was to evaluate whether lower dietary magnesium intake is associated with higher odds of periodontitis, independent of established risk factors. To do this, we conducted a cross-sectional analysis using data from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, or NHANES. This data set includes standardized periodontal examinations and detailed dietary recall data from a nationally representative sample of U.S. adults. Periodontitis status was determined using clinical exam criteria, and magnesium intake was assessed through 24-hour dietary recall. Logistic regression models were used to evaluate the association between magnesium intake and periodontitis while adjusting for key confounders including age, sex, education, income, insurance accessibility, smoking status, and BMI. In our results, we observed an inverse relationship between dietary magnesium intake and periodontitis. We found that individuals that met the recommended dietary allowance, RDA, for magnesium exhibited notably lower odds of having periodontitis compared to individuals below the RDA. And this pattern remains statistically significant when evaluated in models that accounted for confounders. In Figure 1, which is the vertical bar chart on the left, this illustrates a lower prevalence of periodontitis among individuals who met the magnesium RDA compared with those whose intake was below the recommended level. In Figure 2, which is the horizontal bar chart on the right, this demonstrates prevalence was higher for both insufficient magnesium intake and periodontal status for Mexican American and Hispanic Black ethnicities. Finally, in Figure 3, which are the pie charts, this represents periodontal prevalence by gender, and we found that men had higher periodontitis prevalence than women in this sample population. From a clinical perspective, this research highlights the potential role of nutrition as an adjunct consideration in periodontal risk assessment and the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration. The value of interprofessional healthcare can greatly improve healthcare on a wide scale. While magnesium intake alone does not cause or prevent periodontitis, it may be a contributing factor, particularly in patients with existing risk factors such as diabetes or smoking. In conclusion, sufficient magnesium intake seems to be associated with decreased odds of periodontitis within non-diabetic adults. The data suggests that magnesium has a potential to play a preventative and protective role in the oral cavity. Further interventional and longitudinal studies are necessary to further establish the inverse relationship between magnesium levels and periodontal development, progression, and possibly severity. Thank you for your time.